Yo, baby.
Welcome to the number one Bengals podcast. And wow, what a man that's Joe Burrow is. I'm talking, we saw the first glimpse of Joe Burrow, folks.
With the man.
And the broke the
mighty
internet.
good man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John,
I
the
wanna
hair,
have your
the
baby.
muscles. I mean, this guy, and Jamar Chase, as Joe Goodberry pointed out. The guy's got muscles. They're chunkier. They are hunkier. And
Can you explain the newsiness of all this to me? Don't they just look like NFL players?
Can you explain the hypocrisy with all this too? Because I have long hair, I got some muscles on me, and I showed some chest last week, and I got an HR complaint, and now we're just glorifying the
was too much,
objectification
John.
of okay. It's just not an equal playing field, is what you're saying.
If you switch to a headband, John,
John-
it all changes.
John, the room can only go up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and you had taken it up to 115, and that was the line that you crossed.
yeah, John, they're not Italian. Yeah, I mean, but they look. It's entertainment. Okay, Joe Burrow. That's not reality. That is different. But look, we have.
No, but I mean, I
Yeah.
agree. You know, we have some good-looking players on the team, and they look fit. But do they really look more fit than they ever did before, or
Yes.
than other
Yes.
players?
Yes.
Take it from Bridget. Yes.
So
Bridget, please
they
tell
look,
us.
They
Yeah.
look more fit in both the American usage of that term and the British usage of that term. If folks aren't familiar, I watch a lot of British Love Island, and you say like, "Oh, that guy's looking fit," in a British accent, which I guess I can't do. And that, like, it doesn't mean they're like fit. It's like they're hot. And our players were looking like handsome men. We are not objectifying them. I'm not objectifying them. They didn't look ugly today, though, but they also looked fit, like gym rat fit. Did you see Burrow's arms? Those are not the arms of number 9 last season. And did you see Jamar Chase? Like, who's going to bring that dude down? He looks like a brick house.
Well, if I might play devil's advocate here, Bridget, I agree that they looked fit. But as a former QB coach, a quarterback can be too buff. And what happens when a quarterback gets too muscular and sinewy is that the throwing arm becomes too rubber band-like. And the throws go too far. He's missing the targets. The things are too hard. You got to have a little bit of flab to be a good quarterback. Is what I always said.
I mean, he's no Will Levis out there. I don't know if you've seen a picture of Will Levis, but the dude looks like Schwarzenegger as a 22-year-old QB.
Yeah, we can't have that.
Well,
Yeah.
remember Joe Burrow, he has the small hands. So having the extra power with those
Compensates.
hands, yes. But
I think they looked good. They looked ready. It's going to be a good season.
It's thigh season, man. You're gonna see a lot of thighs, a lot of calves right now, a lot of shorts, and that's what the people want.
I was
It's great
never,
for
I
ratings.
I was never really aware of this element of the NFL, that there is a sort of ogling nature of it all. I had always looked at the sport so innocent-like.
So
And
what's interesting is
asexually.
I think it's showing the female fan base,
Yeah.
because I think people forget that there's a female fan base, and
I forget sometimes.
and that's why you and Daddy-O have such large HR files.
Right.
Um,
A lot of people don't
But-
know that, Bridget. But they do now.
well,
They do now.
now they do. Yeah, maybe they don't care, but Joe Burrow seems like the kind of guy who doesn't want to be objectified too much.
No, he's just
But,
a big
like-
kid, isn't he? He's just a big old kid.
You know what he also looks like? He looks like someone who got a really high Wonderlic score. Does anyone? I feel like only John probably knows what that is.
I don't.
What is
So
it,
I
John?
know.
John, what's a Wonderlic?
Yeah, I don't think Bridget.
John.
I know you're the
No, John,
HR
hold on,
person.
John, no,
but I think we're going too far.
John.
with objectification.
John, what is
I think
a
it's the
Wonderlic?
NFL's version of like an ACT. I think he got like
Yeah.
in the 30s or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like a QBIQ test.
Oh, okay.
And I think Joe Burrow, so a QB has to say whether or not they're okay with Wonderlic releasing their scores. And no surprise, Patrick Mahomes scored high. Justin Herbert scored like 5 points higher, I think, than Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow still scored in the 97th percentile. Like, this dude's football IQ, it tests your reflexes and how you make the right moves and your instincts. He's like one of the highest scorers of the Wonderlic test ever.
Bridget, what you make me think of is, say I don't get fitness. I'm not into. I don't work out, but I do get fashion.
Tell.
And Joe Burrow really has a great fashion sense, especially when you compare him to Mahomes, especially when you compare him to a lot of the other QBs. There's only one QB whose fashion sense I prefer, and it's because of my age. I love Herbert's 1990s retro look where he's going to the Waffle House with his friends. I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Herbert or Trevor Lawrence?
Oh, Trevor Lawrence, yeah.
He's
Trevor,
mixing up young QBs with long hair.
they look alike.
Trevor Lawrence has
Trevor Lawrence has
Pantene
the 90s
Pro
look, right?
V
Yeah.
level commercial hair.
But he looks 90s grunge kind of, a little bit the way he dressed, right?
He looks like he's playing on the wrong coast. He looks like a Malibu kid. Trevor Lawrence does.
Yeah.
Now
Waffle
I've come
House.
to the right podcast where I can just talk about the way people dress and their hair.
Yeah. But anyways, Joe Burrow has a great sense of style, and that says something about him because Tom Brady had a great sense of style too. And, I'm happy to have him on the team. He looks fit. Way to go, Bengals.
I do
Yeah.
want to say I am glad to see the return of Flo Burrow. And that was him in 2018 at LSU when he first got down there. He had really long hair. He had longer hair than he does now. Flo is a great name. It's a great nickname. We had a friend in college. His nickname was Flo. For the longest of times, I thought it was because his hair was also pretty long. It was actually just because he was just a chill dude. But I've always associated that name with just having, nice, luxurious, long locks. And also, I think Joe Burrow's personality kind of fits of, he kind of goes with the flow. Nothing really phases him. I think it's a good look for him. I'm glad he's bringing it back.
Yeah.
You heard it here. Can we say that? You heard it here first, Flo Burrow.
Oh, that's not like an original nickname. I feel like that was the thing back.
Well, we
in
brought
LSU.
it back, though, John.
We'll
Like
claim
bell
it.
bottoms. Like bell bottoms, we brought it back.
Yeah, well, a lot of juices are flowing, I
So-
think, now when we have
Ew.
a man
So-
like Joe Burrow. Yeah.
Okay,
But, yeah.
Jonah Williams?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
John wrote an article that he took from Kellyanne Conway's article about Jonah Williams.
Classic aggregation.
And it's amazing, John, what happened with Jonah Williams.
What happened
Which is
with Jonah
that,
Williams?
well, he's back. He's at right tackle. They decided not to trade him. And now the Bengals' question mark at right tackle is a pretty solid answer.
It's an
a pretty
exclamation
decent
point.
answer. Well, I think he's going to be an average right tackle like he was an average left
Okay,
tackle.
it's a
John.
comma. It's a comma.
John,
And But, things slip right through the comma, John, and I think that's the fear. We want a period, and we have a comma instead.
Talking about, are you analogizing punctuations with quality of pass protectors?
Yes. I'm saying that the period would stop the bad guys. But he's a comma, so he kind of just lets them on through.
He's saying that Jonah can't completely stop the pass rushes.
I
John,
feel like I have really
yeah,
offended
you
John.
have broken John.
Are
He's
John and
frozen.
Jonah,
He
are
like-
John,
John
he's-
takes offensive
he's a-
line very seriously.
Are John and
you,
Jonah related? Did I just make a boo-boo?
No, John. What he's saying is Jonah Williams is not going to stop pass rushers from the right side.
He'll slow
But
them down the way you do with
Slow
the
them
comma.
down like a comma. It's like a small
John, you
pause.
froze. That's what happened. So,
Yeah.
welcome back to the show. How do you respond to my pretty trite and sophomoric little jab at Jonah Williams?
I think, John, you just took the words right. Oh, no. John, you might be back.
He's back. John is back.
Oh,
John is gone.
John's gone.
I'll tell
Okay,
you.
Daddy.
Thanks
Yeah.
for
Bridget,
offending
what do you
him
say?
on the Jonah
I'm sorry.
Williams content.
I'm really
OG.
sorry. I'm really sorry. I just have a
Well,
lot
let's
of grudges against
look.
Jonah Williams.
Look, here's the thing.
Yeah.
The highest paid tackles in the league
Yeah.
line up on the left side, which means
Which is where Orlando Brown's going to be.
which is where Orlando Brown's going to be. And John,
That's the
correct me if I'm
blind
wrong.
side. I've
Correct
seen
me
the
if I'm
movie with
wrong.
Sandra Bullock. I've seen the movie with Sandra Bullock. That's the blind side.
The blind side
Yeah.
for right-handed quarterbacks. And John, I know there are a lot of elite pass rushers that line up on the left, which means the right tackle blocks, but I think the majority of them are going to be on the right. Am I correct, John?
You saying right side of the offensive line
Of
or
the defensive line. So the left tackle.
It's not like
about,
that anymore.
It's about half and half. Okay.
No, it's because again, like there's
Yeah.
64 starting tackles in the NFL. There's 64 starting edge rushers. There's so many more quality edge rushers who start compared to tackles. So now you have, for the most part, teams who have quality edge rushers coming from both sides. And a lot of times, like TJ Watt rushes from the left side of the defensive line, which is against the right tackle. He's just one of many. Like Khalil Mack is another one who really made his money just rushing against right tackle. So it's not like the competition's going to decrease.
Well, Miles
when
Garrett.
you're going up
Miles Garrett's on the right.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah. Miles Garrett is the biggest thorn in Jonah Williams' side. And
Yeah.
He's the biggest thorn in anyone's side, and that's where the majority of Jonah's bad production comes from. So we just judge him off of 2 games, and then we have people like Rowdy every point calling him a bust because he's drafted 11th overall, and he's just an average left tackle. We could have foreseen him being an average left tackle because he was never built.
Short
like
arms.
a big guy.
Yeah.
Sure. Short arms, but also just average athleticism, which kind of hurts him sometimes when he's getting out there in space. Like, why are we doing this to Jonah again? Why
No,
are we
we're
doing
not.
this?
The question is.
Why?
The
I
question
feel like
is.
Jonah is a
is he-
dartboard, and we keep throwing darts
Well,
at the guy.
look,
I can't help
John.
it. Like, I don't want to say something negative about Jonah,
Yeah.
but then I do. Why, John?
Yeah.
I wanna
John.
be positive
Okay.
about
So
Jonah, but
John
I-
had Orlando Brown on his show, on his other show.
John.
Bridget, Hoji, in case you didn't know, John
I
has another
saw.
show.
That
He
show
has
sounds
another
better
show.
than this
I
show.
saw.
Well, that's the thing about the show is yes, it's more informative
Right.
and less
But less
controversial, less stupid, and more smart.
Which
However,
how I would do with that.
yeah. Anyways, if you want to go watch that show, look, you can go watch that show. But if you want free entertainment, then watch this show. So
Doesn't
John,
cost anything to watch the other show.
No, but
but it is free
But
to
that's
watch
not
this
what
show.
he said.
That's
He
all I
said
was saying.
this one's
I was saying
free.
this show is free. Unless you go to patreon.com. John, can you put up the Patreon link? If you want to pay for this show, you can also do that. You have a lot
not
of
that
choices.
you would pay for John's other show.
Yeah. You
Not
wouldn't.
that you would pay for that show, but and you don't have to pay for this. Show.
John doesn't. They
But
don't
the
give you
thing
the
is, you
pay
option
for
of paying
both.
for that show. They don't
Why
give you
would
the
you pay for
option.
both?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you just want to pay for a show.
And you're already watching this show.
You're just watching this show. Might as well. Pay
So
for
you
this
goes,
show.
yeah. John, look, here's what we're saying. Okay. You
Burrow should
talked
stop
about on
getting
that show.
sacked. Actually,
Yeah.
he should stop getting sacked. I think, but
Well, John,
Wait,
you
wait, tell
talked
me
about
more.
with
John,
Orlando
John,
Brown.
John,
That's
He
good
said-
coaching
That
advice.
was a mysterious.
We should like.
that was a mysterious statement.
write that
John.
up.
Tell me more. Are you blaming Joe Burrow? Is this sack blaming?
I'm just so done with talking about
Victim.
sacks, man.
Yeah.
Like these guys are so stupid.
Yeah.
Which guys?
John.
The guys who watch our show.
Yeah.
Yeah. John, look.
You heard it here first, guys.
Guys, he didn't mean it. Go
I
to
meant it.
patreon.com/. No, listen. John,
Please get
here's
smarter.
the thing. John. You talked about on that show with Orlando Brown how you said, give me an analogy for going from left to right to left. He said, look, if you're a fighter, right? He said, imagine fighting with your right hand, and now they say fight with your left hand. It's just like your whole everything, your mind to body connection is thrown off. It's a good analogy. you said.
Sylvester Stallone did it in Rocky too, but very rarely can someone do that.
Yeah. So the question is, John, Jonah Williams going to the right side. Is it just about money? Is it just because he wanted to get the left tackle contract, or is he not comfortable doing it?
You're the host of the show, right, Daddy?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if I told you that you're just behind the scenes now? You know, what if I demoted you?
That'd be
Like,
the best day.
It would be
Can
great,
you?
right?
Can you do that?
But it's
But why
still
is it
me.
a demotion? If he's going to go up against TJ Watt now, why is that a demotion?
So I don't think from a value sense it's necessarily a demotion, but when your identity is I do this, right?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do this, and then someone says no. Okay, I understand. Like you can understand logistically why they made that decision. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, right? And it doesn't hurt the fact that the average, the top 5 left tackle contracts compared to the top 5 right tackle contracts, there's still a discernible gap. The doesn't really make a lot of sense. The wage
Yeah.
gap between left tackle, right tackle, it shouldn't be as big as it is, considering both are pretty equally important in terms of actual value. But yeah, like that's the whole, like Jonah always wanted to be a left tackle. That's what he was in college. Like he moved from right to left. So he's played right tackle before, and I think he can make the transition again. It's not going to be easy, but he's done it before.
I guess what I'm saying is, well, you were talking about money. I was talking about the last part that you mentioned. But John, if we talk about money, okay, I don't think Jonah was in position to get that elite left tackle money. I think the kind of tackle he is, playing left or right, doesn't really matter. That's what I'm saying. And if he's part of one of the best offensive lines in the league, and his sack total goes down, right?
Sack
At
total
the
last
right
year was
side.
12. Now tell me.
It was bad, but it wasn't reflective of the kind of player he is.
John,
but if now,
not even
I want
close.
to hear John. I want to hear John.
John, good, John.
12,
Yeah, John.
12 is the number. 12 is the number to beat. Isn't that a lot?
Okay, his overall efficiency, just being a pass blocker in terms of pass blocking grade, pass blocking win rate, it was reflective of someone who gives up probably between 6 and 7 sacks a year. Because if you compare his production and his grades compared to others in the similar range, the sack numbers are completely different, which means that something in the Bengals offense, or maybe the Bengals quarterback, operates differently compared to the other quarterbacks.
John, did you see the intro to the show?
Yeah.
Let's not. Okay. Yeah.
What we love about Joe Burrow is that he tries to make things out of nothing, right? And sometimes that leads to sacks. Sometimes the left tackle gets blamed for holding this block for 3 seconds, or maybe losing after 3 seconds, which is still very passable because the average time to pass is about 2.5 seconds. And sometimes on those plays, Burrow's trying to do things, and the guy gets sacked because he's holding the ball.
John,
And that's
John.
not necessarily a bad thing, but it just leads to the left tackle getting blamed.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can we just pause for a second? Sorry, I just had to.
We needed that. We needed that.
I just needed
You
the
wanted
break,
to juice us up again?
I thought he was going to cool us down, but that's the opposite.
Bridget,
Yes.
please, you need to get us.
I'm
Get us
sorry,
on the
that's
break,
a joke.
Ceiling Cat, this is where you're wrong. Because in the Kelsey Conway report, the Jaguars were very interested in trading for Jonah Williams. And that trade almost went through, too, until the Bengals decided, no, we want to keep Jonah. And then the Jaguars drafted the tackle that the Bengals were interested in the first round.
But Ceiling Cat, even though you were wrong
Ceiling
about that,
Cat,
you were
we
so
love you.
right.
Thank you
about
for
that
your support
little-
of the
yeah.
show.
The
And I want to
avatar
remind
is
Ceiling
beautiful.
Cat.
I love the cat in the ceiling.
And
This
I
is
want
my
to
new
remind.
art ceiling cat.
Wow, that is nice.
Isn't this great? I want
Nice
it
cat.
in a.
You wouldn't
in
put that
an
on the
art
ceiling,
option.
though.
I want to just
No,
remind.
it's gonna come from the ceiling to the bookshelf.
I just want to remind our audience
just needed
that
cat content.
if you have an opinion that you think John is going to shoot down, if you use the super chat and you pay for the opinion,
yeah,
it
we
will be
shoot
a
down
correct
John.
opinion. We will defend.
We will
Yes,
say
John
you're
will be
right and John is
forced
wrong.
to accept your opinion.
This is a show where money overcomes truth.
Yes. So, anyways, John is saying that, look, the Jacksonville Jaguars were interested in getting him. The Bengals didn't like the price. They're like, hey, we're just going to force this guy to play right tackle, and Jonah gave in. And, John, let's be clear now. I would say Cordell Volson is the weakest link in the offensive line, and that's not bad. He's just about average. He's just about an average starter, I would say, especially going in his second year.
Now, Daddy, if I might interject and butt in.
Yeah.
Our offensive line before those, I believe it was 3 injuries, was not that bad last year.
It was very good down the stretch.
Down the stretch.
It was a probably top 10 offensive
10?
line, top 15, top 10, yeah.
Maybe top 15?
I mean, they had good chemistry. They were playing like
And that gets me
Yeah.
to what I want to ask John about. Now, John, I love the way you set it up. Imagine if someone, I don't know, let's say me, replace Daddy as the head of this show. It's not we can in fact imagine such a situation. It's almost happened before. Imagine I replace, and then he comes back as, I don't know, my secretary. Let's just say. The chemistry on the show is ruined. Chemistry on the offensive line. Jonah goes from head honcho to not head honcho. Orlando Brown's in town. Doesn't that change the chemistry? Doesn't that hurt the chemistry of the offensive line? I mean, they're
I'm
sitting
sorry.
together
This
having
John,
food.
this is silly. This is silly. It's not like a quarterback getting benched. He's going from one side. If a
No.
corner or if
He
a,
got
if a-
replaced. He got replaced.
and demoted.
he got replaced by one of the top 5 at his position.
Okay,
after
It doesn't matter.
years
It
and
doesn't
years.
matter
thinks
the context. It's still what it is.
It's
And
a
Jonah
Super
thinks he
Bowl
can
team.
be
We
top
can't
5.
we can't be worried about
And-
feelings anymore. This
No,
isn't the Bengals of
Daddy-O. The Bengals didn't do anything wrong here, but Jonah's still allowed to feel how he feels.
I don't think so. We're trying to win the Super Bowl here.
No
he
one
needs to.
Daddy-O about feelings.
Okay,
No.
so John, the question was actually for you.
I mean, I mean, if you want to talk about feelings, there's really only one feeling that they have right now, which is yeah. But we can't get into that because we have a show to do.
Exactly.
But John, the question
We're
was
gonna
for
have to
you.
put one of those special like NC-17 ratings on this pretty soon.
Yeah, John,
This
the
is not
question-
going to be monetized. No way.
John, the question was for you. What do you think? Doesn't affect the chemistry between the offensive linemen?
It could. It's always like, I mean, they haven't had the same offensive line back to back since like, I don't know, 2014, 2015. It's always
Jonah's going to play angrier, and I want it, John. I want him to be
I think
angry
he is
at the
gonna play
world.
angrier.
John,
He's gonna be less
John.
motivated, I think.
no, he's going in a contract year. He's been
definitely
injured.
motivated.
He's going to be angry. I want to see it. I'm glad.
Here's what worries me about Jonah, because a lot of his struggles involve him trying to overcompensate for his shortcomings. And now that he's got this kind of on his plate, like, yeah, it's like he should, in theory, be more focused because this is the most important year of his professional career. But when you get beat in the ways that he gets beat, you know, he sacrifices his own technique almost to win. And that's just not good for him, considering his technique is his biggest asset, because his athleticism and his size is not really an asset. So I don't know if this will have some negative repercussions to him. We won't know until he ends up playing, which is why they haven't named him the starter. Like, he's going to compete. He's not out there just as the assumed starter right now.
I mean, John, you're right. People generally, when they like to compensate for their shortcomings, in his case, his short arms, they go out and buy a fancy sports car or something. But I think with Jonah, with an offensive lineman, I think that if he is angry enough and he's on a contender and he's blocking for Joe Burrow, I think he's going to improve his stock, honestly, this year. I think he's going to be part of my concern, John, is it's going to happen that one of those five is going to go down, and I don't really like our depth. That's my concern with the offensive line.
Yeah, my concern. Okay, look, when you look at Orlando Brown, okay, he had more snaps last year than our own Jonah Williams had. He only had 4 sacks allowed. I mean, it's obvious who should be the starter.
Mahomes is so much better at avoiding sacks, but go on.
But no, you go on. I'd like to hear from you about this.
John, wait, didn't Carson Palmer say that Joe Burrow is better than Mahomes at avoiding sacks and not locking into one receiver and all that? Carson Palmer said that.
Burrow is really good at, avoiding pressure in the pocket, but sometimes that's what it leads to, right?
But John, those sacks that I saw of Jonah,
he's not
but
mobile.
you know where
Mahomes
Joe
is more
Burrow's,
mobile.
you know where Joe Burrow gets sacked, John? Other than the ones where it's like, okay, if it's more than 3 seconds, fine. He's trying to make a play on third down, fine. But you know where he generally gets sacked is when well, okay, fine. But I'm saying from the tackle perspective, it's when the tackle is blown up so quickly, and so like Joe Burrow can navigate the pocket, but when it's like instantaneous, like he can't do anything. And those are the ones that were sacked. Yeah, he's not going to just throw it away like Andy Dalton when that happens. But at the same time, I think with just a little more consistency, because look, Orlando Brown, we've talked about this. The man is a mountain, right? I mean, he could do nothing. He could have no technique, but the time it takes for someone to get around him would be an improvement.
I want to say this. Like, I don't know if you watch every single snap of Jonah Williams this year, I don't know if you're necessarily going to see a better player. What I do think, though, is that for Joe Burrow's entire career, he's not had really good play from right tackle. Like, that was Bobby Hart. It's been an injured La'el Collins. It was a 33-year-old Riley Reif who was okay, but even still, like, he was pretty below average when he started. I think Jonah Williams can be an average right tackle, but the sacks that he will quote-unquote allow will be significantly less than 13 because Burrow has experience of avoiding pressure and avoiding sacks from that side. Not just because of the whole blindside aspect. It's just easier because you're already facing that way to sense where the pressure is coming from and to make adjustments off of it. So naturally, Jonah Williams will quote-unquote allow less sacks, but I don't think the play will be any different.
Yeah. Well,
John,
Bridget.
who's the new or the tackle? Who did the Browns just get? That's quite good.
Oh, the Browns got some pass rushers. Zadarius Smith and
Yeah.
wow.
And
How
so
did that happen, John? Yeah.
Because he's not good anymore.
Oh, okay, good. Well,
we don't
I
need
mean,
to worry about it.
Oh well, he was decent for the first part of last season, and then he kind of fell off a cliff a little bit. I don't know how he's still alive, but yeah, he didn't do very well in the second half, which is why the Vikings were looking to unload him for like I think a 5th or 6th round pick. or something like
2/5.
that.
I think it was 2/5. So why were people were saying it's a great value?
Because he's a name, he's got past production, but again, he's 30 years old, and I don't think he ended the season very well. So we'll see.
Okay.
So
So,
we're
Well-
not Bengals fans.
do we
Yeah.
talk about the rumor that's been spreading about this guy they want to draft? The wide receiver. who's
Marvin Harrison
played
Jr. He's talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. So what
Hearing
happened
about
was,
these
let me explain.
rumors.
Let me explain, John. Hoji got an email
from the
Bengals fans,
Yeah.
Bengals fan sites, and he messages me and he says
Provocative.
the Bengals are trying to get rid of T. Higgins
Yeah.
and Tyler Boyd and get this
And
this
Jamar Chase.
receiver, and it was Marvin Harrison Jr. And I said, no, that's just a fan site, but really, John, with the rate at which they're drafting receivers, which is about 9 receivers a year, you have to think that at a certain point they
can't-
will go with the young blood.
Yeah, it's like when
John.
you're juggling, John, and you're juggling two things, and you're like, look at me, and you're at a party, and up they go, and down they go, and then you put the third thing, you're like, oh, up they go. Fourth thing, okay, great. Fifth thing, now you know something's going to go wrong. They can only juggle so many talented receivers on this team, John.
This is quite the coincidence considering our newest member. Shout out to TB83, who I'm pretty sure his name is based off of Tyler Boyd, but Tyler Boyd's not going to be on this team next year, right? That's already going to be the shift towards a younger receiving core. But mark my words, the Bengals are planning on paying both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and I think it actually wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to essentially exchange T. Higgins for Marvin Harrison Jr. because Marvin Harrison Jr. is that good, but I don't think the Bengals are really interested in that.
Yeah, I want to go back to your
Thank
point
you for
about
being so
TB83. Yeah, I want to go back to the point about TB83 becoming a member. Now, what does that mean when you become a member? What it means is that you are paying for this show, and you're paying to be a part of the show. You have a
You
lot of
own
rights.
us.
You have powers. There are certain magic tricks that you can perform on John, on Bridget. There are icons
are
and
your
avatars.
puppets.
Yes,
I
and
like that it means you cut off like a third of Daddy-O's face.
That
yeah.
too.
Well, that can be fixed too. There you go. TB83, we fixed that. So, but there
I'm
is
a little bit taller.
TB83,
Just a smidge.
TB83, why do you have the name of a robot? And why is the Swedish chef with that chicken your avatar? Tell us more about yourself, TB83. You're a member of this show. We're a member of your family now. Are you a robot? Tell us more.
TB83 is actually,
I think that's a calculator.
Is Tyler Boyd. I think it is
Which
actually
might-
Tyler Boyd.
You think
I
this
think
is
TB83
the real Tyler Boyd? Do you think his
I think so,
burner
because
account like is
He's saying
kind
it will
of
be a dark day
restricted?
when I'm gone. And TB83, by the way, became a member. You can become a member too. I'll leave that up to remind people that they can.
If
What should they put in-
TB83 is legitimately a Muppets fan, I will commit to wearing I have a Muppet shirt. I will wear it next show. But he's got they have to confirm that they are indeed a big fan of the Muppets.
Yes.
Maybe tell us who
Thank
their
you for
favorite
not
Muppet is.
misgendering TB83. I love it. Maybe it. Now, Daddy, what should they put in the YouTube comments?
Well, what I think they should put in the comments is, what is this offensive line going to look like?
Yeah.
What is Jonah Williams going to look like on that right side?
Yes.
And how angry is he going to be? And yes, and who's he going to take it out on?
Hopefully
John,
not.
I think it's going to be TJ Watt. I think TJ Watt's going to have bad games against us. I think Jonah is going to, I think he's going to step up. John?
Yeah. Biblically, Jonah was able to escape the belly of the whale, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go.
And so
Even,
all signs point to Jonah Williams having a successful run as a right tackle.
So the whale is 80 VGYM in this case?
I don't know. I missed that one. It just escaped my screen. Joe Burrow had like a 124 passer rating when he targeted T. Higgins, which is pretty freaking good. Well, let's able for the membership because I just switched to Geico. You are
okay.
a smart
So this is
person,
this is now a Geico ad,
Yeah.
but that's fine because we have a new member. We have patrons. We have, look at these patrons. Look at these beautiful, beautiful
them.
patrons.
Oh,
you gotta
you
get a
got-
Geta. Became a patron.
Bandana
last
Nilo, it
month.
sounds like
Yeah.
a 70s band, family
Yeah.
band. Ricky Sturworth from the Smurfs.
Sounds
Speedy
delicious,
Man, yeah. WCC's sounds like a public bathroom. Jocelyn Perrin, I love it. Lorenzo Sorrisi, Nathan Sturworth, Rick S, old time fan. Alice Piretz, Nick Marks, birthday. Shout out to Nick Marks.
Bengals captain. We
Bengals
got to get
captain.
Bengals captain back
Very
on the
Davis.
show. Yeah. All right. Well, listen. I think at this point, John, we have to tell people to make sure to check out John's articles on a2zsports.com/Cincinnati and to subscribe to the show, leave comments on the show, turn on notifications, and obviously support TB83 in being a member and support other members. Become a member. Go to Patreon. Do all that kind of stuff and follow Bridget for fashion advice. And we'll see you next time. So long. SVT. Bye.
No one wears a size large shirt just like me. Greatest fashion